Hello, everybody. I'm Simon Canty, your host, and this is our D&D 5th edition campaign, The Benefactor, here on Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm here with Corinne, Felicia, Kate, Nick, and Rodrigo as they continue the story of a bunch of adventurers who have been employed by Renata Green, the benefactor named in the title, and pulled into the politics of the city Ostergald. Ostergald being a large industrial city, although with magic being the industry here, and starting to get to know a lot of the factions and get themselves into more and more trouble as they do things that matter. There's always going to be somebody who likes what they do, and probably 6 or 7 people who don't. Today, they're going to a soiree. Last episode being a slightly, well, for Nick and Farewell, distressing episode, where they had the shopping episode, which also turned into a high fashion disaster as they went with some crazed fashionista. Thankfully, that is over, and you all have your costumes. One costume loaded into a wand, and you are leaving the stylist, I guess you'd call them, and you do have the rest of today, and then tomorrow you're going to be going into the soiree itself. This is basically, you have effectively a day of preparation if you want to do any background checks on things, try to find out who's going to be there. I'm going to hand over mostly to Glory, who has been briefed on this. So she is the socialite of the group, and able to pursue what she needs to pursue. So, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm still emotionally traumatized, I will have you know. My poor, beautiful green boy. Just you are evil people, and you should all be ashamed, and I can't wait for Rodrigo to get his comeuppance.
Hey, fuck you.
Well, it could have been worse. I could have put you in one of the goblins' posing pouches, but consider yourself lucky.
So one of my things that I said I was going to do last session is that I was going to go and find Aiden to convince him to come, so Rodrigo doesn't have to sit out the session.
Yes, you were tracking him down, if I recall. So he went and did his. He went and did his own thing, and then he went back to the pub. So I think, for expediency's sake, you track him.
Well, I need to wing down to the bank. So if anyone wants to come with me, they're welcome to. But that is something I needed to do.
We'll do that as well. Okay. First of all,
also, for those who weren't here the last session, I almost accidentally started a revolution. That was fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. You had a military recruiter trying to recruit for the Duke's free regiments, the legions that he sends out on his personal hobby wars, for people that either have insulted him or threatened him or have or just just anything. He could just not like them, and he's not at war with anybody, and he's got these soldiers lying about not doing anything. So he'll start a war for whatever reason, or maybe he'll profit from it. One thing you do know is that Duke Edmund Ostermark, who is the ruler of the city, owner of the city, is almost constantly at war. And the person who he's baiting and saying, this is a terrible person, this is an awful person, the next day he'll be there saying, oh, yes, he's an honourable person, we did battle, he is my brother, I swear it, kind of thing, and they'll be making up. Similarly, his allies will get closer and closer and closer, and they'll get a lot of benefit from being associated with the Duke being a very powerful, very rich man, thanks to his 3 gold mines. And then they'll get a little too powerful, and he'll see them as a threat, and then he'll just smash them down again. And then probably hire their son or something because he killed the father. So it's how Vardencore, or Old Vardencore, South Vardencore society works. So, you, as you quite rightly said, Eclipse, you tried hunting down Iden. I'm going to get you to actually do a quick roll. We need a few more rolls. So I would like.
Yeah, come on, Corinne.
I would like you to roll survival, please, to track him down in the city.
Hunt that bastard down. I mean that in the nicest way.
That 0 modifier, yeah, that's gonna get me great.
All right.
You do get advantage as an urban bounty hunter.
Yay!
Because she's gonna need it. Come on, Corinne, we believe in you. Roll the pretty dice.
That's an 18.
Okay, yeah.
I rolled a 2 and an 18, so an 18.
Sure. Without spreading his description too far and wide, you use some tactics that you have used around the city in the last year or so. Going to various beggars that you know are always on a particular street corner, certain fruit sellers that you know will keep their bloody mouth shut, and you'll go and track him down just by his description and knowing the right people to talk to. Eventually, you do manage to get the fact that somebody said, "Oh yeah, he went that way, but then he came back around about an hour later," and points towards the pub. So you don't go all the way into Freetown, and you manage to curtail yourself and go back to the Hawk and Harness. In the meantime, farewell. You said you're going to the bank. You're still on mute, Nick.
Oh shit! Thank you. Sorry. Well remembered. I'm going to be trying to split my time between watching where I'm going and furiously scribbling away in my book.
Sure. Okay. So you, I believe, were going to the Blackforge Bank, or was it the Imperial?
I was indeed.
Yep.
Blackforge. I think that's where I opened the account.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So the Blackforge Bank is actually in the quarter I have on Roll20 at the moment, which is the Merchants Quarter. That nice big block at the top is right next to. You can see it says 321 at the top. The 3 is the barracks, the guard barracks, and very close to there are three banks. And one of them, indeed, is the Blackforge Bank. But even though it's very close to the city guards, and you can see that there are guards posted permanently in the street, outside the Blackforge Bank, wearing Blackforge armor, which is a charcoal grey, which is almost like black matte armor, and it has a sigil of a on the pauldrons. There's a sigil of an anvil, and no depiction of flame, just an anvil, and over the top of that, an eye and a drop coming from the eye, like a tear coming from it. This is the symbol of Clan Blackforge. Their homelands are over to the west. They are in northwest Meridia, and they've got quite a history behind them all. But one of the things they have is that all the Blackforge clan try to excel themselves and prove themselves to the world, to each other. They put a lot of pressure on each other to be successful. And as a result, this kind of work ethic means that they have amassed great fortune, and they went to the next available, the next logical step, and formed a bank. They're effectively the HSBC of this world, yeah. So they're very much a world bank rather than a national bank. There is a national bank. There's the Imperial Bank for Vardencore, and the Bank of Meridia. There's a few branches that around here. There's actually a branch in the city, although it's kind of in another bank, if you get me, just as a courtesy to travellers. But yeah, the Blackforge Bank is a large, imposing building, and it has on the roof and patrolling around it, and at all the doors, 2 very hardy and very grumpy-looking dwarves. Saying that, people are coming in and out as you like. There's a lovely big set of double doors. As I say, they are flanked by dwarves, but you can see people are going in and out doing the business.
I'm just going to stroll in. I'm not even going to pay attention. I'm just walking straight through the door and going straight up to one of the counters.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's going with him?
Well, I offered to follow it if anyone had any other business after the shopping trip, so I
Yeah,
guess.
Probably tag along if I know what Farewell's up to.
Okay. Just as you're about to go in, the group going in before you seem to be like a group of mercenaries. The dwarves kind of suddenly step into the in front of the doors, and they say, and one of them says, "Too many weapons. Come back when you've shed some, or some with your friends outside." And there's a general kind of low-level muttering and cursing under their breath, and you see as they leave their weapons with one of their number outside the bank, and the others walk in. As you guys walk in, they kind of glance you up and down, and out of Glory, Farewell, and Cora, they decide that you're not that much of a threat, so they make no such requests of you.
Oh.
Prestidigitation.
There's a kind of gruff nod as you go, which is as close as you can get to customer welcome. And when you go inside, there's marble and brass everywhere, and a kind of what would normally be like a kind of velvet rope type queuing system. This one is done with poles that go into the floor, little slats of wood that go between them, like a modular system. And you can see that there's several queues.
I'm just going to stop. Glory?
Mm-hmm.
Something's bothering me.
Yeah?
How does it work? I can't figure it out.
Oh? What?
The chorus clothes, the heat. I can't figure it out. I kind of get mine, and I kind of get Eclipse. It's warm. It doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be warm. Illusions don't. It does not make sense. How does it work?
What am I rolling to figure that out?
That would be Arcana.
Arcana? Yes. Well, that's a nice one. Does 15 get me something?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm not going to get you to repeat everything I say, but this is the general gist of Glory's slightly rambling explanation. So illusions are capable of fooling, altering any of the five senses, touch, of course, being one of them. And one of the things that Glory was very fond of when she was a little girl was that there were small joke cantrip type wands and objects that you could have that do various things. And a less favoured uncle gave her a ring when she was a little girl that effectively allowed her to flick someone behind the ear from a distance. Now, it didn't actually project that force. What it did do is it gave them the feeling that someone like flicked them in the ear or poked them in the back or something like that. And, she would spend a happy afternoon just watching people in the park and then just kind of poking them in the back or poking them in the ear or whatever to see what kind of arguments and so forth she could enact. Also, if anybody was teasing her at any of the state meals that she would go on, she would be able to do things like, even if they're at the end of a long table, she'd be able to kind of punch them in the side of the arm. It would only feel like it, no damage would be dealt, but it was an illusionary effect. In the case of the heat, Glory believes that this heat is not at all heat. If you were to put anything in front of it, it wouldn't set fire. So if you were to put, say petrol or something like that in front of it, or what would be known as spirit here, in front of it, it wouldn't set fire. What happens is that waves of illusion magic come off the clothes and make you feel like it's hot, but it's not.
Mm.
Brilliant. Ooh.
The heat is in your mind.
And I'm back in the book, and I'm just going. I'll look up. Which queue? Which one looks the least, left or right, basically?
Hashtag British problems. Queue number 2 looks particularly promising. You've been watching it as this explanation's been going past. It's the second shortest one, but you believe that it's going faster than the shortest one.
Cora is gonna grab him by the arm, seeing that he's totally distracted and wants to write in his book, and just leads him to a queue.
Sure.
You.
Unfortunately, too late, farewell. Cora actually took you into what you think is the second most efficient line, but it's looking okay. Now, as much as I'm sure everybody is wanting to hear us go through the whole kind of British queuing dynamics and give them the authentic British D&D experience,
It will take 3 sessions. Yeah, that will take 3.
And a lot of apologies. Roll to apologise. We are going to just.
I'm not one.
Sorry, Rowan's making me laugh as well. So yes, you kind of bumble a bit with some of the apologies. You're not quite on top of your game, but you do get to the end of the queue, which spoiler alert, that's what happens at the end of the queue, and sitting there is kind of grumpy-looking gnome, actually, rather than a dwarf. And
they're all grumpy. It seems like to be a theme here. They're all very grumpy.
He's wearing a tiny little suit. He's got grey hair coming out of both of his ears and his nose, and he's got this kind of tuft, this almost like a ring of hair that's kind of highlighting the bald spot in between. And he turns around and goes, "Account details."
Farewell, bare bones.
He sighs and goes, "Please remember your documentation, sir." Starts flicking through it all, and
hold on. And I'm just going to start rooting in the bag. I don't know if I'll find it, but I will be rooting in the bag.
Sure. He pulls out the card and kind of goes, "No portrait has been supplied." Pulls out a wand and points it at you and goes, "Once more again for the check, please, sir." Casts something on you and says, "Your name, please, sir."
Farewell, bare bones.
The tip of the wand goes from a glowing white ball to a green ball. He goes, "Welcome to Blackforge Bank. What can I do for you today?"
What was that?
That was identification. Thank you for going through identification, sir. What can I do for you today?
I'd like to make a deposit, please.
Of course.
To Greta the Bloody.
Greta the Bloody it is. Do you have an idea of which city I can find Greta the Bloody? Or is this person in Ostergald?
They are here.
Oh, good. Okay. Do they bank with us or with one of the other beneficiary banks?
They're this is they are they have Sorry, I've had a very, very.
We
challenging
completely
morning.
understand, and we're here for you, the customer. Cora, roll just roll a quick perception check, Cora.
I like how you were saying that in character.
Oh my gosh. That's slightly cocked, but that's really bad. Right.
If it's cocked, then roll again.
Well, so on the. That's better. Non-natural 20.
Okay. You do notice he looks at the clock. You think it's kind of coming up to his lunch break or something. And he looks back at Farewell. You can see the start of a grimace. And suddenly his face looks perfect, almost like he's, I don't know, used some sort of glamour to make himself look like a still slightly grouchy but otherwise compliant employee. And how much would you like to deposit, sir?
It's 60 gold. She's a joint party to the account, and yes, so it's only for her to withdraw, and she should be in the next day or two. And I dropped 60 gold onto the counter, just like a handful.
Yes,
Do I know who this person is?
I can see that she is on your account, quite right, sir. He starts going over the coins, counts them up pretty quickly, puts them in a quick pile, pulls out the wand again, taps it, and a kind of little ripple goes over the gold, and he goes, no contraband or forfeiture. Good. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Would you like a receipt for that? He hands you one anyway. Thank you very much for coming, sir.
Nick, do I know who this person is?
You would have heard her perhaps in passing, more yelling as he's like perhaps left a room or something when he's been visiting places, but you've not met the individual.
Okay.
I'm gonna put that back in my book, and I'm going back to my book. Sorry, I didn't mean that to take so long.
Thank you very much for your business, sir.
I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to them.
Oh god.
And yes.
I grab him by the arm and drag him away.
This is me going to the bank.
Okay, Cora, you get a perfunctory nod from the gnome as the next person steps up and he goes,
Thank you.
"Hello, madam," and just see as this quite elderly woman goes, "I would like to make a complaint," and you think that you've dodged a bullet, otherwise you would have been there for quite some time.
May I speak with the manager?
That's a really good impression. Simon,
you literally trigger my fight or flight. I work in customer service. You trigger my fight or flight response.
I'm really sorry, guys. I just needed to do that, as I promised to do that. But I'm good now. If we need to go, I'm pretty good to go. Yeah.
Yep.
Why do you give money to that person? Who is it?
Yeah, I didn't take you for a married man.
No. Oh God. Oh no. They would kick the shit out of me if I even considered that. Greta, they used to look after me when I was younger. They sort of, one of the guards of the caravan, I got her hurt. And so the money's she can't work too much, and I worry that, well, Freetown is not Cora, it's not a best place if you can't earn keep too easy, and people will offer you easy ways out, and there's a lot of pride there, and so I try very hard to make sure that that pride doesn't mean I'm stitching her back up in a caravan, as we've done many times. Sorry, that's a little dark. I apologize. No, come on, we have a party to go to, and we should think of that and go down that bit. And yeah, come on. Well, we've got to find Aiden. He has to go put his clothes on. Come on, that'll be really funny, and
We just need to get him
we can
even
laugh.
more drunk than usual, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need a lot of
Maybe
Maybe
wine.
Noki has that really expensive good rum. I know
Oh.
a brand. That
Do
could work.
you know what? I think he's the type of person that would. And the problem is I've got a feeling that he's going to go into you know like when you're trying to hold on to like a small like squirrel or something and it just keeps going no matter what. You're going to have to really lull him into a false sense of security, otherwise he's just gonna run.
Okay.
I mean, what is this soiree? Maybe there's something there that would interest him, like non-smoozy stuff. I don't know. Does he like food? Maybe there's lots of wine. Tell him there's lots of wine there.
Oh, there's definitely lots of wine. They're usually pretty nice with that. Well, alright. I should probably warn you guys, stay away from the gambling tables.
Maybe
You won't want to end up there.
Why?
Because you wouldn't afford it.
Oh, well, I can't afford it anyway, so that's fine. I've got a feeling that we shouldn't maybe be encouraging him to drink. I just feel that perhaps that's...
Sure, but he's drunk most of the time. You expect him to do something he doesn't want to do when he's not drunk? Good luck.
Yeah, no, it's just... I don't know, in my experience... Yeah, exactly. I think Rory's completely right. He needs the option to do it or to do
and
it.
if he doesn't want to, he'll do it anyway.
Yeah, you've got that wand.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless you think we all have to be there, I don't know. It should be his choice. I mean, we're all kind of doing this.
That is true. But it would be fun.
Yeah. Maybe.
And I mean this. Sir, we will create. It will be so fun.
I have a larva suit.
I know, it's so cool. How did you meet her, Glory? Because she... Oh, hold on, where's my bloody notes gone? Come back, notes, come back.
I love the fact that you can say that in character.
Yeah, that was in character. Yeah, where's my bloody notes gone? Mildred, because I get that, you know, I'm not the most social of people, but she had an insight to me that worries me. She was like words. I'm pretty perceptive when people use specific words and sentences, and she chose that deliberately. How did you meet her?
I was looking for the best place to get good clothes in town, and the other tailors threw me out. Might have been because I slept with his daughter, but hey ho.
Well, I guess
She was the one who recommended Mildred to me.
I guess if you're going to get thrown out of the tailors. Oh, alright, okay. Interesting. Thank you, Glory. We should go find Aiden. And I'm just going to start walking and go back to my book.
Okay. You guys carry on walking through the city, and the city is just going on around you. I'm just going to bring back to the forefront of certainly Cora's mind and Farewell's mind that this for you is new and different. You worked all the time in Freetown. You were either working, eating, or sleeping for the most part. Any amount of spare time you could get, you cherished. And you're starting to feel it now. You're starting to feel that there's, I don't know, you've got a lot of spare time on your hands, and it's a little heavy. Even once you started earning more money, Cora, by running your stealth missions in and out of the city to be able to relocate the packages that you were given. Yes, you got more money, but that just meant you had more people that you could give it to. And knowing full well that the people that you help out were going to help you back, and that did keep you and your family, albeit with them not knowing fully what was going on, that kept you safe over the years. Now everything's coming so easy and for very little effort. So. Oh, and hello, Cactus. Walk through the city, and you get back to the tavern. And
do I get back before them, Simon?
I would say the time it took them to go to the pub and the time it took you to go canvass a few people, for convenience sake, I'm going to say it is roughly equal. Okay. So I'd say you probably turn up a few minutes beforehand. And Aiden, where are you in the pub?
In my room, passed out.
Okay. When you get in Eclipse, Norky turns around and says, "Oh yes, Mr. Aiden. Yes, he went upstairs. He looked very tired. He doesn't put any emphasis on the word tired. He just goes, yes, he looked very tired."
Don't wake him. Please.
So what kind of wine selection do we have here? Because I haven't actually seen much of.
Well, we keep obviously a private collection. Should Renata herself need anything, we can send it over. We have a less private collection, which is for our more well-to-do customers, which also includes yourself. And then we just have, and he points to the wine rack. The wine rack obviously is not a set of optics. They haven't gone that far here. It's shelf after shelf of bottles, and you do see that there's different wines, and they don't just break into red and white. You do notice that there are fruit wines, there are more elven labels, and then there's more kind of other racial labels. So dwarven wine, which is kind of a very hearty, fortified red, which ironically isn't made out of grapes. And then you've got wines that come from different countries. You notice at the top end of the wines, you have two bottles. One of them, and they seem to be quite proud of where they're from. One of them is from the Summer Isles, which is a very small collection of islands that is to the west of your location at the moment, on the other side of the country and off that coast, or that's closer to the coast of Meridia as it kind of sweeps round. I'll bring up the map in a sec. And the one that's most expensive and actually has a kind of ticket next to it saying, experience the exotic taste of Garandal, is from the jungles of Garandal itself. So Garandal is very far away. It's basically on the most southern point of the map, so the most southwest region of the map, the world map. And it is a sprawling set of jungles, largely untamed. The only cities are at the coast. So they've made it from some sort of jungle fruit, that they have found there.
Is there any wine from Austrian?
From Austron, yeah, there's some wines there. The wines from Austron aren't that expensive. They've got the land, they've got the weather, they've got the industry, and so they produce more of it. Because they produce more of it, it's not as expensive. You do.
I said I'm just gonna grab a nice Austrian wine, and I'm gonna make my way upstairs to try and check if Aiden's awake or if he wakes up, and offer to share a big nice bottle of wine with them.
Okay, you probably don't want to tell Aiden what the translation of the wine is, because it's called the Embrace at Dusk. But you, it looks.
Wow, chicka, wow, wow.
It looks beautiful, and the text is actually a Tabaxi dialect. So but it's a good wine, and Noki ticks it off his sheet to say that it's that you has it, and you head upstairs. So as you get to presumably knocking Aiden's door, Farewell and Glory walk in through the front door, and Noki goes, "Ah, and here is the rest of them. Hello. Eclipse and Aiden are upstairs. Aiden's very tired, but Eclipse has just gone to take him a pick-me-up."
I rush upstairs because he's asleep. Full going for the stairs.
Go on. Let's
super.
acrobatic. Not acrobatics. Let's do a. This is mostly just a determined fate. Do an athletics check, Farewell.
When this goes on, I just look at Cora like, does he usually do that?
Yeah.
18.
18, sure. Eclipse, your hand is about to knock onto Aiden's door. It's literally coming down, and then the private door opens up, and Farewell goes, "No!" The start of a sentence.
Hi. Whoa.
I'm bringing wine to my friend.
I know. I need 2 minutes. Oh, that sounds really creepy. I need 2 minutes.
Oh my
Promise,
god!
you can just watch. I need to check something.
Okay.
Can you get us in
Get
without
what?
him? Like, open the door without, like,
The key.
waking him.
I'm following them up the stairs, by the way, just really kind of slowly.
I wanted to chat it with him, which is why I was gonna knock. I was just gonna generally hang out with him.
I just need to check something.
I was just generally gonna hang out with him and see if, like, friendship.
Yeah. Can I check something first?
What do you want to check?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So, and I get the book, and I basically, you watch as he sticks his hand in about a third of the way of the pages that are on the left, pulls it back, and it just says Aiden's name at the top, and then it's just got visual observations, and down next to it, it's got things like cold skin. There's a huge thing about, like, the pulse and like that. Because the thing I can't figure out, that really bothers me, is that if he's that cold and his pulse isn't working that well, I don't know if he's breathing all the time. Now he must breathe in some way, because of course he talks. I mean, you can't talk without breathing. It's sort of systematic. But I don't know if he's sleeping, if he breathes, and I've never got close enough to check.
What are you doing?
So you want me
Nothing.
to break in the door so you can go and make notes on our friend?
Yeah.
Seriously?
All right.
Yes. What? I'm making all of you.
No,
I mean, all of you got.
Pissed off enough. I
A footnote to this:
More-
Glory is being served Eladrin brandy by Noki, and he's telling a story where he goes, "No, seriously, 3 arms," and I was there saying, "This is an illusion," and then he goes, "Slap, slap, slap," and clearly not 3 arms. You know, I guess it can be useful in some circumstances. Anyway, have another one, my dear. So as you guys carry on.
Am I?
Maybe.
No. Is this one of those no ones?
Well, isn't it better to? I feel like we need to get to know him a little more, and then you can ask rather than like be creepy as fuck and go watch him sleep.
Yeah, but he told. Fine. You know, these things go much easier if you just. Fine. And I'm gonna trudge back downstairs.
Stupid halfling doesn't let me do things I want to do. All right, Mum. Got pulled off by Mum.
Are you gonna try and convince him again? Eclipsed? Have
Yeah.
you gone? Are you still there?
No, I'm still there.
Are we? Can I just DM or Glory? Can I ask a question? Is this party tonight or tomorrow night?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow night. So
Tomorrow night, isn't it?
My plan was to not really approach him about the party much today. It was just kind of share wine and get to know him better. So maybe he'll want to come tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mostly I've given you guys a day's worth of preparation because I'm giving you a set number of hours to be able to go for it. So you can carry on doing whatever party bonding experience you want, but the total number of hours you've now got for preparation I'm going to set at 10. With all the other little bits and pieces you'd have to do in the day, I'm going to say that you've got 10 hours worth of preparation that you can spend doing whatever you want. Okay? Now, if the first hour of that is farewell, eating popcorn and watching Aiden sleep, that's absolutely... Well, I say that's absolutely fine. Morally, not really. Let's just say your choices are your choices.
I feel like at some point Aiden is just gonna get a restraining order on farewell.
You already paid him to stay away from you.
I don't think
actually,
close.
technically, the payment was so I didn't touch him. Not that I.
The wording. It's all about the wording.
Fuck you.
But I
Watching
will
him
join
sleep,
Glory at the
Smelling his
bar
breath, that
and,
kind of thing is fine.
I was
and
going to say, Farewell, maybe the good thing is to ask Aiden if he's okay with you watching him while he sleeps, rather than just going in without permission at all.
You have seen me ask for things, right?
Dude, you just been taught moral by a cat.
Okay, I'm pushing him down the stairs.
Even I know I'm not good at asking for things.
Walk away.
Okay, so you guys are walking away. I'm gonna knock on the door now.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Hold on, and I run up and I go. You're probably going to need this again, and I'll cast guidance on you. So you have guidance, and then I'm going to walk off.
Okay.
So.
Do I roll something to see if I wake up? Because I imagine Aiden is a heavy sleeper.
Go on. Even though this isn't a thing where it's kind of succeed, fail, this is just leading the narrative. Roll me a perception check.
How perceptive I am in my sleep.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Apparently
just
very poor. That's an 8.
No, dead to the world.
I knock a little harder.
Okay. Are you going to persist?
Me?
Yeah. Okay. Eventually, slowly, Aiden, you do this whole kind of thing where she knocks. Yeah, huh? What's that? And then just as you're going back to sleep, the knock kind of does that again. And there's a little bit of kind of just coming out of sleep, slipping back in, just coming out of sleep, slipping back in. And then eventually you realise that there's somebody bashing on your door, and you start waking up properly.
Okay. Why? I instead of getting up like a normal person, I'm just gonna roll off the bed and fall to the floor.
I hear the thud and I stop knocking.
I mean, you probably went to sleep clothed anyway, taking on board previous descriptions. So yeah, you just roll to the floor, brush some of the mud from your boots off the bed, and you're upright, but I wouldn't call you awake.
When am I awake? Jesus. I just open the door slightly. Just
I stand there smiling with a wine bottle going.
I don't know what to think of this.
and I go, I thought we could share some of this wine. It's from my homeland. And just chat for a bit.
I'm leaving this door open. If we do.
Yeah, that's fine.
I let her in. What am I doing?
Okay.
I look for. Do we have wine glasses in our room?
There's a set of glasses and a water, a small glass jug of water that always seems to be fresh and refilled. So you can use some of those glasses.
I use, like a heathen, these glasses that are not meant for wine.
Yeah, sure.
I genuinely don't care if they're not meant for wine, so I'm gonna use them anyway.
And pour one glass for him, one glass for me.
Over Christmas, I was drinking mulled wine from a mug. I don't care. So yeah, the wine, Iden, is rich, deep, kind of a bold fruitiness, like a kind of the darker berries kind of thing. You kind of getting hints of blueberry, and a very definite hint of spice. You just can't place which spice. It's certainly not cinnamon or nutmeg, but it's kind of in that spectrum.
I still think it's kind of shit because I don't like the taste of wine anyways.
You should just...
I don't like the taste of wine, but I drink 6 gallons of it a day.
Yeah. I just down my first glass and I say, "Okay, you want me to go to the fucking party?"
Well, that wasn't really why I was here, but we do, but we don't have to talk about that right now.
Okay, serve myself another glass, down it, like all of it.
Just, you must really enjoy wine. Do you?
I don't actually, and I serve myself another glass and I down it.
Really? That's why do you drink it so much if you don't enjoy it?
Alcohol is alcohol. Also, like, habit. Family used to be a big wine drinkers, as much as I hated it.
Yeah, we
All
do have a bit of wine. We have a bit of wine production in Ostran, but my family didn't drink that much wine. We were more practical in our choice of beverages. So your family, do I know anything about the canals, Simon, at all?
No, none at all.
No. Okay. I don't know much. I have to confess, I don't know anything about your family. So if you want to tell me about them, you're more than welcome. But yeah, apparently they're what known or something. I don't know. Can't be
My family, I would describe them as my family specialize in the hunting and killing of very, very on off base of how do I say this? I'm not good with words. We're kind of like exterminators of a certain kind of vermin that are kind of dangerous. I'm talking like vampires, undead,
Oh,
liches,
right.
necromancers, ghosts, and also on the side we did a little plumbing, but it was mainly the hunting and killing of undead.
I do like the part about the plumbing. The plumbing seems very important.
It was. It was.
But so yes, that seems like very dangerous work, to be honest.
I mean, it was.
Mm.
Especially the plumbing.
Yeah, you
But-
gotta watch out for those so the water doesn't turn back on when you're doing your plumbing.
I just downed another glass.
This is so fucking adorable.
Let me ride.
Please carry on. This is brilliant.
Now I feel awkward because of now that you brought it up, Nick.
But,
Session
yeah,
12,
so-
the plumbing episode.
Yes, talk about plumbing. No,
Yeah.
my family is not nearly as interesting. They're just workers. As I said, my sister is an adventurer. She's off doing her pilgrimage voyage. As I said, most tabaxi, or especially Naru, get a thing where we leave our home for a while and either come back or settle somewhere else. And that's what I'm kind of doing right now. Is there a reason why you're away from your family? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to.
Yeah, there is a reason. I'd rather not talk about it. And I grabbed the instead of serving myself a glass, I grabbed the bottle and I just started chugging.
That's fine. You don't have to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah.
Be careful there. It can be quite strong if you drink too much.
As soon as she says that, I start choking a bit.
I kind of like pat your back.
Yeah, it's kind of strong.
I poured you some water from the thing.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Anyway, this is going swimmingly.
Base, I thought just take the chance to try to get you know a little better because we haven't had much of a chance and you don't seem to be very comfortable when there are more of us around. And I thought maybe you'd be more comfortable if it's less people.
That's fair. Alright. Yeah, I guess this is kind of nice. I mean, I'm kind of almost choked, but still.
Yes, but you didn't, which is the important part.
Fine. I take a big swig from the bottle.
Yeah. So what did you do today, then?
I almost started a revolution by accident, but I don't want.
Did you say you didn't want to talk about it? Because I didn't catch anything.
I didn't. I almost started a revolution by accident, but I kind of don't want to talk about it.
Can I persuade
Can she roll persuasion? I don't know.
No, I said that in character.
Oh. Oh.
Just like
No,
can-
no, no. It's. I think I'm kind of wanted dead now because of it, but it's fine. I'll be fine.
Do you want me to look into that? Because I have contacts within the bounty hunters, so if your names comes up, I can say that you're off the list.
Actually, that would be nice. I mean, I think someone already wanted dead, so having two people looking for your head, not great.
Yeah, and apparently there's someone after me as well. So we're both in that boat, I guess.
Cheers! Cheers to that.
Tears for being hunted.
For being hunted. I'm like, this is funny. Aiden is still half asleep and he's drinking. So, yeah. You should probably not talk about the heart of. I forgot the name. Because Jordan, yeah. So because that's probably gonna cost. Like, if you talk about it too much, that's probably gonna cost you your life.
I guess. But it doesn't seem like it would, because it's just a legend, and
legends usually tend to be true in my experience.
I just need to find out about. I need to find out about these people that are trying to kill me. So I need to go to. I think Renata might have some information about that. So I'm gonna
That's
try.
why Eclipse can't drink wine, by the way. She gets hiccups.
Yes.
Yeah. Alright.
Did you know anything about these guys at all, or this?
The guys who want you dead?
Yeah.
No. I have zero fucking idea who they are.
Yeah.
Like,
Seems a lot of people. The opposers who try to upstage each other when they try to kill each other, and apparently I wasn't a good enough a target, so he gave me this, or I could give him it. It was something, and I'm very confused, and I'd rather not be a target.
yeah, that's a good idea. I think about it for a second. I take a big swig from the bottle and I say, "Alright, fuck it. I'm going to your stupid bullshit party."
Oh, really?
Yeah, although one condition. If Glory tries to dress me up, I can and will stab her.
Okay, I will tell her this. I can't say what she will do with that information, but I will relay your message.
I would like to put this disclaimer in. I don't know what she's going to do, but I can guarantee that the message shall be delivered in the next working day.
I won't hesitate.
I will make sure to deliver that as well.
Anyways, you kind of woke me up. Do you think?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you want to go back to sleep?
Please.
Are you okay with going to sleep by yourself? Otherwise, I can put you to sleep with a sleep spell if you just want to go instantly.
I think I can fall asleep just fine.
Okay. I'll see you then. Bye bye.
I wave goodbye, close the door, go to the bed, and as soon as my head touches the pillow, black out.
Okay. So, downstairs.
I go downstairs to Glory and relay Aiden's message that he will go, but if she tries to dress him up, he will try to cut her and he will not hesitate.
Okay.
And so, as I said, here is 15 reasons why Aiden is not a revenant, but essentially is some form of golem.
Who are you saying this to?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see
Just-
that
just-
last part. Yeah.
Just to anybody that's paying the remotest bit attention.
Okay, I'm going to say that you went back downstairs to where Glory, you actually cut off the end of the story of the three-armed man, which seemed to be going towards a slightly risque and quite entertaining ending, and you just came in and started this lecture. And as you get to the end of it now, you've got Noki, who's there, kind of propping up the bar, going, fascinating. Okay.
Oh,
So yeah, the guy, he
I would
had
like
three
to use my
arms.
kitchen.
You want to use my
What
what?
time is it, by the way?
Your kitchen. I would like to use
It's-
the kitchen in a minute.
It's about 4 p.m. now. Actually, no, it's probably closer to 2 p.m. Sorry, because it's just after the gnomes' lunch break and a little bit of shenanigans that you guys have been up to. So it's about 2 p.m.
Cora's probably got food then.
Sure, yeah, he provides that. And well, you said you wanted to use my kitchen.
Yes, I mean.
What for? What exactly do you want?
Use it? Cooking.
Okay. You can never tell with an adventurer like you. Last person who asked to use my kitchen, he tried to smelt in there. Yes. You don't look like the smelting type, but you do those weird experiments. So who knows what you wanted it for? But cooking, yes. You please be my guest. This is your home now, after all.
Thank you. Glory, yeah, sorry. Been distracted. Wasn't very fun. You needed to do something for the party. So, I'm all yours. And I just sit down next to a stool and look at her.
Mm-hmm. Well, there have been rumors about the residuum market going up, and especially with that powder you guys found the other day. I
Don't know what you're
thought-
talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I just
Oh,
thought-
in the wizard's place. Yeah, that stuff.
Mhm.
Right.
Going to.
Oh, you found some residuum. Oh, of course. You went to Zev the Enchanter's place. Oh yes, I should imagine he
Yeah.
had a lot of that stuff. I love residuum. It's sparkly. Do you know that some of the designers use raw residuum as a form of glitter?
Oh yeah, I've
Makes
seen those dresses. They are really pretty.
Yeah, but
And
very
I-
unstable. You cast a spell on it, it can go very wrong.
It could go to anyway. I've seen people blow themselves up while having one of those.
Well, the one I recall, only the clothes blew up, but it was still a very embarrassing situation.
Oh yes.
Wow, this is fascinating. Anyway,
But yes, well, while we were away, I heard some rumors about the it was the other week. Like, apparently the market's going up, and it might be an interesting lead.
The
Fascinating
import.
Lead in what
anyways.
way?
Also, I have I'm thinking we can make some contacts. I mean, some of the most wealthy businessmen will be there. And, maybe some pretty ladies. All the important things.
Very
of course.
important.
But yes,
Okay.
as I said earlier, stay away from the gambling table. I
Okay.
don't want you losing platinum you don't have.
Glory, what do you know about residuum? Like the market and stuff then?
Not much. It was a lady friend of mine who tipped me about it. Apparently the market's been going up here in Ostergold, which is weird because they're supposed to be importing it.
Yeah.
So,
So, well, market. I don't know much about this stuff, but markets go up when things get rarer, right?
no. They're selling more.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Well-
mean there's more of it?
There's more of it. Okay.
Ah,
I thought you meant it was getting more expensive.
No, unfortunately not. So it won't be like as profitable. But I'd like to know where they get it from, because I don't know. I get curious. Like we have some mines back home where they mine it, and like I've seen it in its raw form, and it's not supposed to be here around Ostergold. It doesn't like appear, you know. So
Tell me
yeah,
more.
Okay. What colors have you seen?
well, you have the glittery gold thing. Like I've seen some, like I think it was like processed in some way to make it a more silvery glitter. That's the lady whose dress blew up on herself.
Okay.
Take it as you will. If it was
Their clothes are not going to explode, are they?
nah,
Yours just might
they
rot.
are illusionary thingies, not residium.
That's not
That's
funny.
I'll try not to get too close. I'm sorry. It looked really cute.
Farewell needs to stay away from the blight spell.
ah.
Just
Just
bring
stay
a
away from
spare
fires,
robe,
and you
maybe.
will be fine. Farewell. Besides, just us showing up will make all the gossip.
Oh,
I'm sure we'll find something fun. And dancing, of course. There's always dancing.
we're not
You guys
exactly
do
gonna
know
go.
how to dance, right?
Of course, Glory. Is that when I enter?
Yeah, at that
Yes.
point, yeah, the cat walks downstairs, smelling very slightly of wine.
Of course, Glory, I know how to dance. Yes, by the way, Glory, I had a chat with Aiden. He did say he will come to the soiree, but if you try to dress him up, he will not hesitate to cut you. That's my
Yeah.
message from him.
Maybe we should show him the option.
I think that's a good idea.
He hasn't
I've-
seen it yet. Let's
Yes.
Hold on.
lay it out at some point tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I've got my suitor kit. It's fine.
You what?
I've got my medical kit, and I've got
Well,
plenty
that's
of spells.
probably for the best generally, but I still don't think we should encourage him to cut anyone. Okay.
Well, no, oh no, sorry, no, it was for him, because if he's stupid enough to try that, she's gonna do that acid or thing, and I'll have to
Oh,
scrape
it
him off
could
the
end
floor
very,
with a
very
shovel.
badly.
Yeah, that
But,
was for
like,
him.
His outfit, from what I saw, looked okay. It didn't look too unusual. It kind of looked like what he has already, except it wasn't full of holes.
Yeah.
Or
So.
smelly.
Mm.
Or dirty.
I mean, how can you want to wear that? I think he just thinks it's going to be something crazy and ridiculous.
Yeah. So if he has a look,
crazy and ridiculous.
Because then no one wants to talk to the crazy smelly guy.
No,
Well,
that will not
don't
be a
say that. He kind of doesn't want to talk to anyone.
yeah.
Yeah. I know. I think he secretly likes us.
Yeah,
Secretly
probably.
like
He
you.
works as-
Well, he hasn't left yet.
And you know, I mean, and they just spent like half an hour, 40 minutes, like sharing most of a bottle of wine. Are you okay?
He drank like 80% of it.
Clips, you're weaving a bit. Do you need to sit down?
I'm fine.
Okay.
But he drank about 80% of it. He did almost choke at one point, but I gave him some water and he was fine. But yeah. He told me that his family used to drink a lot of wine, and apparently his family used to hunt vampires and stuff, which is very interesting. And also they did plumbing. I honestly, I don't know what. Yeah. So, honestly, I don't know much about his family, so it was quite interesting to get to know that his family used to, or I don't know if they still do, hunt these vampires and
Liches and undead and
yeah,
specters and wraiths
Yeah,
and
he doesn't seem to
revenants.
like talking about them, does he?
not really. So I was surprised he shared that with me. So
I don't know why.
Maybe
They
it
did
was
really
the
good
wine.
work. I mean, they always, from what I heard, got their targets. There was, I don't know, there was always people to bury and things to do. But I mean, I never met a canal, but I don't think anybody we ever followed did. But we did a lot of places and a lot of things. But we tended to, if we heard of an outbreak, usually it was either over or done, and we come in and do our job. So I don't know why he's upset with them.
I don't know.
I
Good
don't know.
question.
He's clearly not with them.
He said there's a reason why he's not with them, but he'd rather not talk about it, so I didn't try.
Mm.
Okay. Any preparation you guys would like to do before we fast forward to the day of the soiree?
Yes.
We will definitely be throwing that at you, Felicia. Come on, guide us. Guide us.
Like, I am such an awkward person, so I barely know how to act in a social situation. This is gonna be fun!
What do you think I gave Aiden plus 0 charisma?
That
Please, yeah, please.
-3, bitches.
I have to play a +3 charisma, and I'm struggling. Please, yeah, just think of it as the ball in Inquisition and be the Inquisitor.
Yeah, that
That
was a
doesn't
while
help,
ago.
you know. Because from what I remember of that mission, at least when I played, I was also very awkward.
Yeah.
my Inquisitors are doing perfectly in that. Because I just pick the right choices, guys, and make everybody get along.
Yeah, you didn't at all look up a guide to do that.
Called out.
The first times, no. Like the
So,
third
Glory.
playthrough, yeah, I'll see what the options they are, but
What's that,
Glory,
Cora?
Yeah?
do we? So you mentioned the residuum market and talking about that. Like, is there anything specific you want to try and find out that we could help with? Because I'm not good at just smoozing with people for no good reason. Like, give me a task, maybe.
Well, I do have a couple of other tips, but that's the one I'm interested in, because we used some Residium back home in the library. That's where the enchanters and mages trained. Yeah?
Okay.
Which is why I'm kind of interested, yeah.
I'm kind of, yeah.
But
I'm
mostly, like,
interest
where
there.
are they getting it? Because as far as my contact didn't knew, they are not importing it, and it's not native here.
Okay.
is there anything? Because I can tap my contacts of the if there anyone in the, I can check if there's anyone at the soiree with a target on their head from the bounty hunters, if they need them arrested, disgraced, or any sort of thing
That would be fun. Like, I mean, any scandal can be used as blackmail if it comes to.
But yes, I'll make some research and see if there's anyone at the soiree. Do you have a list of who's coming?
No.
Ooh, sounds like you guys have got a list.
That's part of the fun.
Cora,
See who come.
Do you know who would come realistically? Or should I just bring a list of the entirety of... There's a lot of people on that list.
Okay, so to butt in with the mechanics, you can spend the next 10 hours with Glory schmoozing amongst her contacts to see if she can put together a list. And then after that, Eclipse comparing with her list of known contracts.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm happy to do that because that gives us a task, and I think we want to get into a soiree this session.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I.
Sorry, Rodrigo.
Yeah, I do want to. Very quick things that I operation.
Mhm.
One, Aiden's gonna take a bath because like he doesn't want to get dressed up, but at least he's gonna go clean, right?
Yeah.
Two. The other thing I want to do is, have you seen those like stickers you put like people use that have "Hi, my name is" and it's blank,
Yeah.
right? I kind of want to do something like that, but instead be like, try to charm me and you die.
Okay. You.
Right?
There's various types of writing materials that's available. Obviously, there's everything from vellum, which you can get rid of by pouring water on it or putting it into a fire. That's the thinnest and most easily destroyable materials. The opposite end of the spectrum to that is basically a type of parchment that is mostly cloth. And you can get this, and I don't mean you get it at you can get it at a stationery store, but it will be somewhere in the tavern. If you go and speak to Noki, he'll just get some from his office. And that's normally the substantial stuff this stuff will last the test of time. It'll get dog-eared, and the ink will start to fade. But it's normally for recording things that you want to be kept for posterity for whatever reason, or maybe just a little more resilient sign. It's quite thick, but you manage to cut a kind of twice the size of a business card. And when you ask around, there is some simple glue as well. And you realize that you can just kind of glue it to your current costume if you wish. This type of glue, because there's different types of glue, this one will happily go away with some vinegar. So you could stick it on yourself and then get rid of it later on that day.
Yeah, I will do that, and I will write, "Don't charm me, I will," and underline "will stab you."
Okay.
And just paste that on my coat.
Okay. Sure. So you do that. I would like Glory to give me what she believes is an appropriate social role. If you want, it can just be because social background checks apparently don't exist in D&D. You can just do a charisma plus your proficiency, and then roll a d20 on top. Eclipse. With you, I'm going to get you to do a persuasion check for you. Now, you'll get the thing no matter what, but you're trying to...
I was going to say, because it's a background thing for me. I think it actually says in my background I got contacts in the city.
You have indeed.
You said charisma plus modifier, right? Or is it plus charisma modifier or charisma proficiency?
Charisma with proficiency, yeah. So roll a d20, add your charisma modifier, then add your proficiency. And for Eclipse, yes, your background will give you something. The persuasion check is to see whether or not you can get any dirt off one of the people in the okay?
Yeah, so it's a persuasion check, you said?
Yep.
Persuasion, yeah.
Nat 1.
No, it was a 3 plus 5.
Oh no.
Okay.
So it's an 8.
Okay, I'll take that into account. Glory.
19.
19. Okay.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm going to fire off some names, so get your pen ready.
Yeah. Spellings.
1 second.
Okay. We ready?
No.
Are we all writing this down or just?
I'm ready.
Glory is the important one here because she's the one who is is going to be doing the social tactics here. Okay, so starting from the top, there's certain people who I'm not going to name because you didn't kind of totally max out. But although 19 pretty damn high, so you know for a fact that Thormund Keenbrand is going to be there. He's a dwarven moneylender in the city. He's not really liked in the city, but he's rich, and because he's rich, he gets invited to a lot of these kind of things. Mostly a bit of a grumpy arsehole. Then you've got...
Wait, what did he work at?
He's a moneylender.
Moneylender.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Scrooge of the city. Then you've been told that Hobra Winterscribe is going to be there. Okay. She is...
Name again?
Her name is... Yeah, her name is Hobra, so Hobra, Winterscribe. And she's the master oviate of the city, so a type of bard. Oviates are all about collecting lore, so they're kind of a researcher, but they are more eclectic in what they collect. They collect everything. So think kind of an investigative journalist type of character, and they are covering the soiree for posterity. So they'll be making notes about it, and if necessary, putting it into some of the newspapers or private newspapers for the more well-to-do people in the city. On top of that, you know that Corinna Sandscale is going to be there. Okay, that's Korinna Sandscale, and she is the current chairperson of the Ostergald Chamber of Merchants. Okay, now Glory knows this person. She's had a few run-ins with Corinna. Corinna is socially very adept. She will do pretty much anything to keep her station. Everything from cutting debates to telling stories and jokes to flirtation. She's a very powerful social figure. She seems to...
What was her work again?
She is the chairperson for the Ostergald Chamber of Merchants, and she disapproves of you, Glory, because you are not a merchant, but you do spend a lot of time distracting them.
Simon, is she a copper dragonborn?
She's a bronze dragonborn, yeah.
Bronze, Simon, bronze.
Yeah, she's a bronze dragonborn. Okay.
The reason why I know this, by the way, is because the last name Sandscale is Simon's. Simon has a few dragon clans that have different names depending on their color, if they're a specific clan. Yeah, so
Sandscale are the bronze dragonborn, and they're a family famous for the fact that their genetics only produces bronze dragonborns. The next person on the list is a bit of a surprise to you, Glory, and that is Yana Whitehawk. So Jana Whitehawk. You don't know why she's going, because she's the Primari leader of the city. Primari is the word that you will hear in place of barbarian. Nobody calls people barbarians around here. The word is used very, very rarely. It's odd when it is. Someone who is a Primari is someone who follows a kind of tradition rather than a faith. Although they acknowledge the gods, they acknowledge Melora, certainly. And they are just barbarians. They live off the land, and they try to live what they consider to be somewhat of a pure lifestyle in balance with nature. Her name was Yana, spelt with a J, so Jana, Yana, and surname was Whitehawk. Okay?
Whitehawk,
yeah.
Primar leader.
Mm-hmm. The next person is another Dragonborn. Okay. You've met this Dragonborn before, Glory, and you've only met her in a social setting. You haven't talked to her for business reasons. She is somewhat quiet, but when you get her in conversation, she can be quite entertaining. And that is Lisana. That's Lisanna, and her surname is Shadowclaw. Even though she's Shadowclaw, she's actually a blue dragonborn, although most of her family are black. And you know her because she is what's known as a drowned king. Okay?
Ooh.
Out of all the pirate factions, the Brotherhood of the Seven Sails is the largest pirate faction, to the point where they're actually a seagoing nation. They are a nation of people who live almost entirely on vessels. The majority of the people being known as the Free Folk. The Drowned Kings are the exception to the rule by the fact that instead of living on the ships, they live in ports. Now, most of them live there in secret because in some places the Brotherhood of the Seven Sails are outlawed, and they are outlawed in most places in Ostergald, as in Vardencourt. In Ostergald, you are aware that the reason why Lisana is allowed to be here without being arrested or killed is that she has been allowed clemency to live here as an ambassador to the Brotherhood of the Seven Sails by the Duke himself. So Lisana mostly does her business with the Duke. She doesn't really have a shop or an office you can go to. She has got some very nice living quarters that has like a salon where she can, or a lounge that she can receive people. Mostly her business is private, and she does a lot of business with the palace itself. Okay? So a dark blue dragonborn Lisana Shadowclaw. Karim, you wanted to say something?
I was gonna ask how much, this is more lore knowledge. I don't know if Eclipse necessarily knows this, but I think the reason why most of the Seven Sails are outlawed here, especially in Vardencourt, is because slavery is legal in certain places in South Vardencourt, and the Seven Sails has a very big faction in them called the Shacklemen, who free slaves.
Yeah,
it's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly that. So South Vardencourt mostly do not practice slavery. There are a few lords lords, dukes, and barons that do still practice it, and they pay for the Imperial Palace to turn a blind eye, because this practice still goes on, and also because they have a lot of very unfair indentured servitude, which is slavery by another name. The Shacklemen, who are one of the Seven Sails, so there are seven factions. That's why they're called the Seven Sails, but they are seven factions under one seagoing nation. The Shacklemen very violently punish people who practice slavery. And so any nation that practices slavery, they can practice piracy in return. Now, there are certain places within South Vardencourt that they have deals with. So, for example, no slavery can go on in Ostergald. As one of the things about Ostergald is that, for its faults, you have never seen a slave here. You've seen a lot of people impoverished. You've seen a lot of people worked unfair hours and exploited, but no one has been actually enslaved. You have a feeling, based on this this knowledge, that the Duke Edmund, has agreed that no slavery shall happen on his land in return for not being bothered with the Shacklemen. The Shacklemen being one of the more powerful factions. The most powerful faction is the Forsaken. And they work on a strange vengeance law. So, yeah, you have a feeling that that's going ahead. But anyway, that's Lisana Shadowclaw. If anybody's interested in the remaining factions, the pirate factions in this world, I'll be able to release a document that I've actually written already. So, the other people, Saris Lulari, okay, Sarris Lulari,
Starraris.
Sarris, Saris Lulari. Okay, he is the head of the Bankers Guild here in Ostergold. Then Nashi Rainmore, so Nashi Rainmore, so more like a mouth.
Wait. I'm trying to write. It takes time. Sorry.
Will this be in the test?
There's a test?
I'm so glad I learned to take minutes because it does make this thing so much quicker.
Yeah, I'm slightly regretting not making this list in advance, but I didn't know how you would score. So yeah.
So you said Nashi, and then what was the last name?
So it was Nashi
Rainmore.
Rainmore.
Yep. So whereas Saris was an elf, Nashi is a human. I've just typed it into the stream chat, actually, Nashi Rainmore. And that's the Master of Guilds. Now, Nashi's job is to keep all the guilds from killing each other or going into trade wars that will pretty much cripple the city. So not a very powerful, a very powerful position, but also a position where you spend your entire time working.
Babysitting.
Finally, the last two that you've got here is you've been told that Galena Blackforge is going to be there.
Ooh.
Okay, and yeah, so a member of the Blackforge clan, and you'll find that a lot of the dwarves here share similar names because they are all absorbed into higher clans. Small clans get when they end up being in debt and things like that, they get adopted into clans. So Galena Blackforge is the Archmagister for the Imperial University here in Ostergold. Okay. And then the last one that you have heard about is Ola Soraka. And she is a local mine owner. She owns one of the gold mines. Well, she's sorry. She does. Ola Soraka. I'm going to type it into the chat. Okay.
She is a orc. I can tell by the name.
Yep. So Ola Soraka. So I've typed it into the chat. Ola Soraka is a half orc, and there's a naming convention. Gro means son of, so means daughter of. So Ola Soraka literally means Ola, daughter of Raka. Okay. This actually comes from Welsh, by the way, where son of is ap. So I would be Simon ap Hayden di Tregatug in Welsh.
Shouldn't it be whose coat is this jacket?
So Ola Soraka is a mine owner. I say mine owner, sorry, mine governess, because obviously Duke Edmund owns the mines. Okay. It's her responsibility to run the western mine closest to Freetown. Okay. Right, that's who you get on that. There are other people on the list, but that's what you managed to get in 10 hours.
I spelled 90% of the names wrong, but I wrote them down.
Okay, so does any of these names match with any of my list that I got?
Okay.
Some of them are on the original PDF that we had as
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at your your briefing PDF that I gave you, some of these names will definitely be on there. Thormund Keenbrand, the dwarven moneylender, is on the list.
Yeah. Ooh, what is he? What do they want him done with him? Do they want him arrested? Do they want him? Because it doesn't necessarily mean kill him.
No, it's not kill, and it's not arrest either. What they want is for him to be sent a message.
What message?
You have to pick up the message. It is a physical message that you have to give to him. It's a sealed message, and it has to be placed in his hand.
In his hand?
Yep. He has to physically hold it. You can't slip it into a pocket or anything like that. You have to hand it into his hand.
Just, here you go, letter to you, sir. Okay. I asked Glory if she wants me to take this contract.
That could be fun.
The contract is not giving me much information on what this message is, so it's a bit of a gamble.
Roll an intelligence check, Corinne.
Yeah. What kind of intelligence check? Investigation?
History.
It's a flat 10.
You can do it.
A 10? Okay. You suspect that this is a court summons. So the thing they do in America where they go up to somebody and go to shake someone's hand or something like that, or say, "Excuse me, sir, did you drop this?" And then when they hold the envelope, they go, "You've been served," and walk away. That's the contract.
Okay.
You've got to serve him with his court papers.
I guess. So I explained this to Glory, and this is probably what it is.
And
Okay.
that's interesting. The fact that they have a contract on it would mean that he's been avoiding it. That could be used.
How much would we get paid for it?
This is a 40 gold mission, which is quite high for the task that in hand. However, this guy is a bit of a recluse. He normally works through his clerks. And also, you do notice the date on the contract. He's been evading people trying to do this contract for the last 8 months. You have a feeling that originally it was a lot lower.
We might as well take it because it will give me something to do during the soiree.
Right. Okay. So if that's all the preparation, I'm going to suggest we take a quick bio break. And then when we come back, we will come back the night of the soiree.
Yeah, we're going to try to get Aiden into his outfit.
So you've still got to get Aiden dressed.
By the sounds of it, he's already made his fashion statement. So, granted,
having a bath.
Granted, the fashion statement is like growling in someone's face, but it's still a statement. We will have a quick break there, and I will see you guys in about 10 minutes. Okay?
Bye! For now!
Just gonna bring out the right spread. Here we go. I am really
Welcome
bad
back,
at
everybody.
note-taking, so this-
So, before the break, we were joining Glory and Eclipse as they were trying to figure out who was going to be at the soiree, and we had a list of names who were going to be there. And out of the people there was the Archmagister of the Imperial University, a local mine owner, Master of Guilds, Master of the Merchants Guild, a drowned king, so a kind of representative of a pirate nation, very important in a coastal town like this, a port town, no less, and a moneylender who has a contract on him to serve him his court papers, which Eclipse has said yes to for the reward of 40 gold. As I say, it would normally be half, if not less, than that value, but because he's evaded them for 8 months, they are now going to be trying to get him by tempting people of a higher caliber to do the job. Okay, so you spend your time doing mostly what you've described, doing background checks. Some of you have just been resting up. Aiden has been putting his very personal touch to his costume, and the rest of the day goes out. The rest of the evening goes with that issue, as does most of the next day, which carries on Eclipse and Glory preparation time. Immediately prior to the soiree, about 2 hours before, you guys start to get ready, and you have Farewell with his small plant, his bow truckle, that he applies to his wrist whilst in dark, and he ends up wearing this beautiful natural moss and as I say, almost calcified wood armor with various vines and things like that tying the whole thing together. Eclipse manages to slip herself into this strange, writhing, almost living catsuit made from clashing, gaudy pastel colours. And
I look really uncomfortable in it.
And when she goes to look at herself in the mirror, yes, she looks awful. But as she looks at herself in the mirror, the costume goes. Rawr.
I tell it to shut up. We are supposed to be quiet, not growling.
You have a feeling that your clothes are sulking. Cora followed, even though the costume was quite simple and seemed to just kind of hang on her. You do get this kind of thing, and this is partially the DM venting some of his rage at women's clothing. But you do notice that the top,
Do it.
even though it fell on you in like a really lovely way, since it's been taken off and put on a flat surface, you've picked it up and you're not quite sure. You're pretty sure that one part is like inside out and the other part isn't, and you're there kind of going, how can one part be inside out and the other part can't be? And then you flip it over, and then you realize one side is the wrong side and the other side is the right side, and you're pretty much doing origami with layers of things, okay?
Cora's just spent an hour in the bath as well, like for the first time using that nice bath. And so she was just about like, okay, I can do this. And now she's like, fucking can't do this. Trying desperately to stay zen, but is struggling a little.
Yeah.
At this point, Glory would like to like knock on Aiden's door, like, Aiden, I know you don't want to wear the clothes, but can I show them to you?
Do you think
Surprise,
I'll fall for
welcome,
that?
bitches!
You think I'll fall for that easily?
No. But it's worth a try, please.
No.
just can you just take out the clothes of the wand and just show them to him, like hold them up and not have them in the wand?
Yes.
Yeah, if you do that and like hold them up.
Please.
It seems to be in your style, but with a kind of swashbuckly kind of feel to it. Kind of a duelist thing going on. You're really not sure about the large floppy brimmed hat with the large feather.
I designed it for you.
What I tried doing is that I literally just get out of the room and go downstairs, and I just completely ignore her.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Glory!
sit next to Iden for a moment.
You look like a
Uh,
tree.
Yes, I look like a tree.
Are you both in the bar now?
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
You are.
I'm going to have been following. I'm going to be following him. Look, I could give you a long and boring talk about helping your friends, or my grandfather had a fantastic sermon about doing things that make us uncomfortable, where we end up sitting in a bar looking like a tree. And how that whilst this doesn't make me feel good, it makes other people around us feel good. And that sometimes they need our help. I hate this with every fiber of my being. I hate what I'm doing. But I
Where do you
promise
think I'm going?
you're not going, you're appearing. I mean, you have a thing on your chest that says, if you charm me, I will stab you.
Yeah,
You're nice, but you're not that nice. All I'm asking is play the game for her. She strikes me as someone that's never asked us or asked anyone to help. And she's in her own way presented us with something that will help us
Look.
and help her. Look, I know there's a million and one reasons not to do it. And there's a million and one reasons just to show up as you are, but she wants you to look as she sees it, your best.
Look, I do want to help. That's why I'm gonna show up in the first place. If it were up to me, I would literally won't even like step a foot in there. But I want to. No, I don't want to, but I'm going to because I want to help.
And
But
I
at least, I still have standards. Still have limits.
Maybe you can go without the hat. The hat is a bit gaudy, but the outfit itself is actually very, very easy to do, and I think it's quite in your style.
I think this is the first time Aiden sees your outfit too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Eclipse
This
looks like
is
a
not-
friggin' disaster.
This is not quite how I imagine this conversation going.
before I
This
can-
is not helping. Look,
I wish I had your outfit, Aiden. I wish I had your outfit. You do not want this.
Okay. First of all, Eclipse, just to be safe, burn the outfit after you're done with it. You don't want it coming
I
back
am
to life or something
absolutely
like that.
planning on that.
Just to be safe, you don't know. You don't know what could happen if you leave that thing be. Anyways,
I was
my
kind of
queen,
ready
give
when
me
you-
strength.
Cora is shouting for Glory, just desperate to see if she can get some help getting this bloody top on.
Okay, Glory, you
Will
go
you
with.
please wear the outfit, please?
you fucking owe me. Farewell. And I
Thank you.
go put the fucking outfit on. But Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I put the outfit on, not the cap. But the other thing I do is that I take off the tag that I had on my old coat and I put it on the outfit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good compromise. Glory, Cora is shouting for your help. And when you walk into Cora's room, you can see that Cora's a bit flustered. There's a little bit of rage going on. And against all probability, she's somehow managed to tie a section of her top and her bra into a knot, whilst wearing the bra.
Yeah.
I don't
You're
remember
gonna...
it looking like this.
No.
Help. Otherwise, I feel like if I click my fingers, I might set myself on fire.
Yes. I will fix it. No problem. Here we go. Do you want me to do your hair too while we're at it? I can do that afterwards.
I don't know. It's kind of short. What?
Oh, I just thought we could curl it a little bit at the edges so they round off, framing your face a little bit. It would be cute with this type of top.
Yeah.
She says that while trying to fix it.
By the way, Nick has pointed out that when Glory walked into the room, Cora's hair was bright cherry red. That's how you can tell she was that enraged. By the way, the only knowledge I'm tapping here is my time in the theatre where I used to work backstage, where somebody did actually manage to tie themselves up in their own costume. Don't ask me how. And the other reference, I have no idea how she did it. She didn't even have a complicated costume. It was basically she was Feste from 12th Night. But the other references, of course, is that I do a lot of laundry, and I've done a lot of laundry for female housemates in the past. So I've had that skirt that's made up of like a billion skirts, and there's never any right way up, and it's just yeah. So venting some laundry rage in the narrative here. So
yeah.
So you managed to sort Cora out, and suddenly Cora, with what seems to be an insultingly few amount of moves, Glory has this thing beautifully draped over you, and once again, it looks like that this crystalline lava is just flowing over your body. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Not a problem.
Yeah. Have you done my hair as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You notice that Glory got out a little wand and things and just managed to get it. So it's got this cheeky little curl at the end, puts a bit of energy into it.
What color do you think?
With the red, I'd say you could do a mixture, like go make it look flamey. You can do several colors at once, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Darker red with some lighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There. What do you think?
Oh yeah, gorgeous.
Brilliant.
Okay, I need a drink before we do this. Okay.
Okay. You go downstairs and you join Eclipse and the boys. And at that point, some...
I still can't believe it growls. I mean, you growl when you walk.
I am genuinely, like,
and you growl when you walk.
while waiting for Glory and Cora to come down, I am genuinely afraid of Eclipse's outfit. Like, growls, and I start moving a little like to the side.
Don't forget that it moves a little bit too. So like it moves and it growls and it's just like...
Yeah, that too. So like I just see it like writhe and growl, and I just like start like scooting away from Eclipse. I'm afraid it's gonna eat.
The worst part is that it growled as she was trying to climb onto the bar stool. So it kind of growled from kind of like the knees. And when it growled, you you guys were the show of the pub when Farewell came down looking like a tree. When Eclipse came down, everybody was transfixed. And when she climbed onto the stool and it growled, it wasn't quite a growl, it was kind of a snarl. It was kind of a kind of thing. Everybody stopped, and they've been watching you all ever since.
Let's please get this over with.
Okay.
I do not want to die from an outfit. I would like my death to be with something less absurd.
Simon, just to note, when Cora was having her bath earlier, she listened to the music box as well.
Okay. Okay. You feel... well, two things. In that case, there's two additions I have to give to the scene that you were in. When you got angry, you felt good. Okay? So when you got angry at the top, you felt good. And the second part of it is you had kind of a bit of social anxiety before you were going. Not so anymore. You feel like it's natural. You feel like you've been going here for some time. You're ready to meet people. Very strange. And as you walk, Glory, give me an insight check.
Yes.
You can do it. Roll well.
Oh boy, that's not a bad one. Insight, that's a +3. 16.
Yeah, you spot it. Cora walks ahead of you, going down to the bar. And as Cora walks, she's walking as if she's trying to resist dancing to music. She's swaying as she walks. Cora normally has a very practical stride. Normally, she's being stealthy or being fast, or sometimes when Renata's pissed her off, she's striding with purpose. At the moment, there's a little bit of a sway there. There's a bit of a wiggle as if she's listening to music. Cora, you have no idea you're doing this. But you do feel a certain amount of confidence from the music box.
Yeah. I thought it would calm me, and I guess it kind of did.
Okay. So you guys downstairs watch as Cora comes down. She's glistening with this crystalline lava, and this is like as I've said before, a toga top and kind of harem pants, and then shoes to match. And she obviously hasn't clicked her fingers yet, so the effect hasn't gone off. But she's looking, I guess, ostentatious, but she looks good.
Can we let go?
You look good, my friend.
Thank you.
You look really good compared to me, who is
I don't know. I won't lie. It's growing on me. I mean,
it's growling at you.
Farewell. Everything's growing on you right now.
When
Holy
Glory
shit!
sees
I didn't.
that
Are you
Ada-
wearing an outfit?
I guess.
doesn't he look handsome?
Yeah.
So
You do.
so Glory has shot him with the clothes and stuff. So and he took off the hat and put the badge on. And Glory is, if I just bring it up, Glory's rocking the little black dress that we showed last week. I've just put it up onto the stream, and it's figure hugging and seems to rock the fact that she's got a very large tail as well. Something that we've pointed out before, but it bears reminding. Certainly with this image, that she's got an almost alligator-like tail by the fact that by the time it actually gets to her butt, it's as wide as her hips. And not quite as wide, but pretty wide. And very, very strong as well. I mean, you've seen it before where if Cora's going over uneven ground, she has subconsciously just pressed her tail to the floor to almost act like a balance, like a third leg sometimes. You know, you have a feeling that if she practiced with it, she could probably use it for climbing or even combat. Very, very muscular tail. As a result, she's got a shape that's very non-typical. She's got her usual feminine shape, but she's got this extra mass to incorporate into any fashion. But she seems to be doing it. You can see there's a little green bustle there, and I appreciate that we're doing a lot of fashion and all the rest of it. But hell, there's not many.
No longer Dungeons and Dragons.
There's not many
fashion bitches.
There's not many D&Ds that do it. So.
And dragon.
But I do like the Dungeons and Fashions.
Glory, did you book a carriage, or are we gonna have to walk through the city like this?
I talked with Noki last night. We have a carriage waiting.
Oh, fantastic.
Indeed, it is outside now.
Oh,
Should we
thank
have
fuck! And they literally just go outside.
Well, I was gonna suggest like a quick
I'm already in the carriage.
Courage shot, but we've got someone that's very eager to get to the parties.
I have just the thing for you.
I'll take a courage shot, and I go to the bar and grab one, and like boom, and that's out the door.
You guys have just downed a Kelterland whiskey, and it burns, but in a good way. You get into the carriage.
Nice.
I'm looking forward. I haven't been to a party in so long.
Spend the carriage ride giving them tips about the characters that we know are gonna be there, because some of them weren't with me while I was gossiping around trying to figure out who was coming.
Okay.
We've compared notes on the list.
Yeah.
Right. So
all the tips.
Cora, do you want to make a deception check right now? Or do you want to describe your reaction?
Well, Cora, if any, well, I don't know. Does anyone need to do a perception and I do a deception, I suppose? Like, because Cora, one name is mentioned, and Cora kind of tries desperately not to react to it. But she clearly, like, just a little bit of a moment.
Well, I don't think
Would that be insight? Or
I would.
I didn't hear what you said.
Farewell would be aware.
Yes, Farewell was very aware. He possibly would have a reaction too, or at least a glance to Cora.
Okay. I think the best way to do this is so we're going to do this passive for Cora and active for Eclipse, Iden, and Glory. Farewell automatically succeeds. Cora, your passive is just 10 plus your I guess it's deception modifier. Okay, and that will be the DC.
what are we rolling for it?
The rest of you, when I ask, will be rolling insight. Okay. So, Kate, have you got that number? Just you can keep it.
Sorry, I thought you were talking to everyone else when you said that. So what? Mine is what? Sorry.
Okay, so
10 plus.
So I want. So for you, Kate, don't say the number. Okay. Just I want you to take 10 and add your deception modifier. Okay, and keep that number in mind. Yeah. Okay.
Deception, yeah.
Yep. So that is the DC for this roll. Okay. The guys are going to now roll insight. They're going to state the numbers, and then you are just going to describe what they see. Okay. This, by the way, is a quick way of doing any kind of player versus player roll like this. So Cora was caught on the hop. The rest of you, I mean, technically it should be she rolls deception and everybody else is using their passive insight. But I've decided to reverse it because I'm giving Cora a certain disadvantage one that she doesn't quite know about. She knows half the story. So, Eclipse, Aiden, and Glory, please roll.
I just did.
Oh boy, that's an at 20.
Same.
16.
That's why I'm currently.
Both of you rolled match 20s?
Yes.
Oh,
Shit.
girl, you got some explaining to do.
What did you roll, Aiden?
16.
16.
Well, you all succeed.
Okay. So,
So,
first of all, Kate describe, and then I'll add something on top.
sure, yeah. So basically, as Glory is listening through, this person's gonna be there, that person's gonna be there, this person, she mentions the name Ola Siraka, and Cora. It's just she's listening and listening, and then she just kind of freezes a bit, and her hair that's been doing this kind of like fire thing ripples through and kind of settles back, but it's kind of quick. Clearly something about that name like rang a bell and kind of rattled Cora, and she tries to then kind of be like, yeah,
Okay.
good.
You're
Okay.
right. Yeah, you Corey, you okay? You good? Okay.
Do you know Ola Soraka, Cora?
Circle.
I heard the name around. I've seen people around, so I know of them. I remember, when I came to Freetown, people were still talking about the accident in the mine, and that was hers. So, her name is about. So, yeah. Anyway, who else?
So, I'm going to add the natural 20 bonus that you get. Okay, so Glory and Eclipse noticed that when you said the name, Cora subconsciously gripped part of her clothing. Just one of those things where you would kind of ball your hand into a fist, but she was resting her hand on her knee at the time. When she did so, the beautiful crystalline lava illusion on the clothing disappeared for about 3 inches circumference around her hand, and it turned into what seems to be white silk. She disrupted the enchantment around her hand. You quickly check the other hand, and as you check the other hand, the illusion is just about coming back again. It looks like from both of Cora's hands, she disrupted the enchantment in the clothing when that name was said. Aiden doesn't notice this. Glory and Eclipse do.
All right.
The rest of the ride goes fairly quickly. I mean, you're not that far away. It is just a brisk walk away, but one must turn up in a carriage, of course. And you come to a halt, and you can hear the driver kind of do a bit of a sigh. And she goes, she kind of knocks below and says, we're nearly there. Usual thing for a party, I'm afraid. There's a bit of a backlog of carriages. If you wanted, you could get out here, but most people like to go right up to the entrance and make an entrance. And then you can hear, almost drowning you out, you can hear in front of you, in the carriage in front, a woman going, "Do they know who I am? Honestly, do they know who I am? Look, they're talking. He's still got 1 foot inside the carriage. You, sir, get your foot. Yes, I'm talking to you, sir. Get your foot out of the carriage so that your driver can drive away. I'm looking to enter here. Do you know who I am?" And all of a sudden, you do hear someone go, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, milady. Yes, apparently you do know who I am. Get on with it." And suddenly the carriages all lurch forward as one, as very hastily, 2 carriages ahead, that carriage rolls away and hers goes into place. Anybody who tries to look outside or is glancing outside at this point sees a high elf, quite young. I think he's kind of in his 30s, which is very young for a high elf. Running.
Yeah, he's a baby.
Yeah, he's a baby. He hasn't even got his adult name yet. You see him kind of almost trotting up the stairs into this very well-to-do house, and he's looking back with somewhat of a fearful glance. The carriage in front of you pulls up, and you can hear her saying, "Well, get on with it! Get on with it! I haven't got all day. I'm delayed already." And again, anyone who can just about see.
Supposed to get out?
Yes. No, wait. It's almost our turn.
Oh, okay. Is there anything we're supposed to do? Like any?
I just pat Aiden's head when he's whispering, "Kill me."
You're giving him head scratches. This is a very cat thing to do.
Show how afraid you are. Be confident. And Cora, use the snapping thing. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Straight like all the time, or
No. Make, like, let the others go off first, and then when you step out, preferably like either Aiden or, Farewell holding your hand as you step out, because that's
am
gentlemanly.
I gonna melt them?
Now, it'll be hot, but you will melt them. Might be better with Aiden, though, she says as she glances at Farewell.
Is that a?
It's because you're a tree.
And water.
All the tact. All the tact.
Somebody could get very upset, and you're very lucky that you're my favorite.
Careful, or her clothes will bite you.
My clothes growl.
See,
I am
see,
very
Aiden, this is
confused.
gonna be really fun.
Okay, so we have to not be afraid. Oh, great. Have to remember to be a gentleman and not gamble all the money, and
Also, kill me, please. Now, do it.
It's fine, Aiden.
No, it's not. Kill
See
me.
it this way. These parties, in some people, subtly, is pretty okay.
Have you
Like,
met us?
Have you seen his label? I mean, what the?
You will do great.
I think you will certainly make
Kill
an
me.
impression.
Exactly.
I should have gone back to
We
picking
will
bitches.
truly make an impression.
Oh, in so many ways, I'm
Yes.
sure.
Give me death.
Okay. You see as a woman in peacock blue dress with a large, quite over the top wig. Strides with anger in her step up the stairs, and she goes, "Who's the herald?" And the guy kind of starts to stutter, and she goes, "Huh, fine herald you'll be. Come on, announce me." And she pretty much drags him into the soiree. Her carriage goes forward, yours steps up, and you do notice that there are a few people who are just chilling on the entrance, the kind of little dais that the steps goes up to, and stood there scribbling furiously into what seems to be a small notebook is Hobra Winterscale. I've mentioned her before. She's the master oviate of the city, a human bard, and she.
Was he the one that didn't like me?
No, she's fine with you. If anything, she quite
Okay.
likes some of the stories she gets out of you. This is the journalist, not the Chamber of Merchants person, and she
Right.
so Hobra is, as I say, scritching down something in a notepad. She's wearing a trouser suit, and it still has a good kind of feminine edge to it, but there's a kind of boyish flair to it as well. She has her hair done back like a page boy courtier. You would think it was a wig if you hadn't seen her like this before. And she does have a lovely kind of purple tint to her hair. You have a feeling that that was magically applied. And she tends to favor the color purple, although she's currently wearing blue seems to be the thing that you've seen so far, a lot of people in blue. And she's wearing a powder blue, like a light blue suit. It's quite shiny. And she's got kind of like almost a rust-colored piping along the way. And again, it's a courtier's costume, kind of her showing that she's there in a semi-official capacity. And as your carriage points up, she kind of glances to see what's inside, and she unmistakably grins from ear to ear as she sees the people within, but mostly the fact that you think she's grinning because she's caught that you're in there. Okay.
Oh, hello. Who are you?
You haven't got out yet.
Hey,
I thought she looked in our carriage. Sorry, I thought she stuck her head in our carriage.
No, she's kind of up by the house. She's at the top of the stairs, but she's kind of bowed down and kind of glanced inside the carriage from a distance. She's about 15, 20 foot away. A doorman comes forward and opens the door of the carriage, and noticing that some people are in dresses, he quickly pulls a small stool out, a little step, and puts it underneath the carriage door, and stands to attention, holding the door. Okay, so who's getting out first, and how are you making your entrance?
All yours, Glory.
Yes. I show them how it's done.
Okay.
Sauntering out of the carriage.
Mm-hmm. So Glory steps out and pauses, and she pauses with one foot still on the little step, the other one on the sidewalk. She allows her tail to slip out of the carriage, and it coils beautifully, almost like smoke, kind of just, coiling in the air and just adding some movement to it. She takes a moment to just kind of go side on and give her best, her best profile, looking at the people who are at the door. And you do notice that there is a guy there who seems to be one of the staff. He's not wearing rich clothing or anything like that. He seems to be wearing a kind of servant's uniform, like a kind of butler's uniform. But he does seem to have a small sketchbook. And when he sees Glory, he quickly reaches into his pocket, pulls out a very small device, clicks on it, and kind of tips Glory a wink and puts it back in his pocket. She gives an almost imperceptible little nod and starts to weave her way up the stairs.
I'm gonna step up, but I'm gonna basically grab Farrell's arm so we can step out together, because I think that's a good thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So even though I'm the least graceful, as in I'm the least, I look weird.
Okay. Eclipse and Farewell, you've grabbed each other and you're trying to get out of what is a very narrow carriage door. Both of you give me...
Essentially hold his hand. Basically what Glory said about, like, me stepping out, but Farewell holding my hand as I
Sure,
step out.
I'm
okay.
like halfway out the door, but halfway in because I'm not sure if I'm supposed to go yet.
Yeah,
But
I was going mostly with Farewell's clumsiness. I would like actually, I'll just make it Farewell. Farewell, do a dexterity saving throw.
Oh dear.
Oh my.
Don't worry, that's fine. I actually rolled really, really well. I need to find my bloody character sheet. Saving throws dex. 21.
21. Okay, yeah. Even though Eclipse kind of grabbed you and then basically left whilst holding your hand, you managed to surge forward, and as you are coming through the door, kind of actually no, elegantly with that score, elegantly taking a hand and bringing her down, and you're there thinking, yeah, I'm supposed to be outside doing this, not inside. I'm
actually offering my hand to it inside the carriage.
Yeah, you're kind of holding her from inside, almost like a pulley system, dropping her down instead of being outside and offering your hand on high. But with 21, you manage to rock it. You grab hold of the door, and it's almost like a dance move as it glides out of the carriage, herself very dexterous. She's a rogue, and you just managed to. Later on tonight, when you go to bed, you're like, "How did I do this?" You somehow managed to rock it and do a complementary movement. Okay.
Right.
But you do suddenly feel very exposed, Phil, and you're now outside the door, flanking the door. On the other side is the guy holding the door.
Yeah, I'll grab his arm properly and walk up, like following Glory.
Okay.
Shouldn't we wait for
Okay, I guess next is me, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it's us. Are you coming?
Okay, so I just do a big sigh, and then I get out of the carriage with no flair, no attempt to make myself look good. I just get out of the carriage the same way I would get out of the carriage in any other situation.
Yeah,
just don't care.
You've seen prisoners leave a caboose with more grace than this. So he trudges out, and and I don't know what kind of help you're going to get here, Cora. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to rock the entrance.
Actually, what I will do is, I don't care about this whole thing, but I'm not an asshole. I'm still gonna help Cora out.
Okay.
Progress.
Yeah, sure. You're stood outside the carriage. You're already waiting there. And Cora, as you step out, granted, with your height, he doesn't exactly have to offer you a hand so much as just kind of put his hand out just a couple of centimeters away from his waist. But you take his hand, and you come out of the carriage with no issue whatsoever. Thankfully, you are wearing, as I say, the harem pants. You're not exactly wearing like a dress to trip over. And you start walking in. I'm
gonna look up at Aiden and give him a wink and be like, "You ready for this?"
No.
Good. I snap my fingers.
As soon as I help her out, I just start walking towards the other, and I put my hands into my pockets.
You leave me behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it, and I walk on my own out the back, like with it all going. In fact, I'm gonna stride right past Aiden and up the stairs.
Sure. Okay. As you do this, so there have been some reactions to people going up. I let you all kind of get that narrative out. So Glory is actually waiting for you all at the top of the stairs, waiting for her entourage, because she knows there'll be people in the foyer who will watch her walk in, and she wants to have her entourage about her, and all of these things that Mildred's made for you is all supposed to work together. So Eclipse, Farewell, when you get up there, Glory does gesture for you to be on one side of her, and when Cora strides up trying to take over Iden, who's kind of trudging his way in. There are some reactions to some of the people who are hanging outside, and one of the reactions is actually from Hobra herself. And she kind of looks at Cora and tips her a little bit of a wink and a kind of an approving nod, as if to say, "I like it. You're rocking it yourself," kind of thing. When people look at Eclipse, they do recoil, but when they recoil, it's not with disgust. They recoil almost because it's expected. But then, as they recoil, they end up kind of having pensive looks on their faces as they suddenly take in the image in front of them. So as she kind of steps within view, they kind of go, oh, and then, oh, and then they're kind of really looking at the thing, and you start hearing, oh, it's fantastic, it's so conceptual, I love it, and there's lots of this kind of chatter about the fashion that's there. You do notice that a lot of people have dressed very safe. There's a lot of people who are wearing garish colors, in a way that only a rich person can think that they're rocking it. And some people are wearing absolute disasters of clothing. And it's only once you all get there and you see that you're kind of showing off the entire range of a designer that some of it starts to make sense. Glory, once Cora and then a very begrudging Iden steps up beside her. Once everybody's there, excuse me. Once everybody's there, Glory kind of finishes with a bit of a flourish. Almost like a flamenco dancer, she kind of puts her hand up as if to say, well, what do you think? And there's this sudden ripple of polite applause. Sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze here. Yes, Rowan, it's the fashion making me sneeze. It's that bad.
Well, it's all the plants. Jeez.
Yeah, there we go. People are pointing at
Get on me.
Cora, Eclipse, and Farewell in particular. Excuse me. Oh dear.
Dumbo.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who knows me knows I sneeze at the slightest thing. I've been good on the stream so far. So they do point at Cora's costume, Farewell's costume, and Eclipse's costume. Glory's cool with this because their job is to be remarkable. Her job is to be the hub. Yeah. She is quite clearly the one in charge socially. But you have all been tagged as kind of #glory. Yeah. And Iden at the moment just looks like maybe her kind of bratish nephew or something. However, a young dragonborn male walks past Iden, sees the badge on there, and goes, "Fuck yeah, I like it." And he suddenly kind of...
Please keep walking.
And he goes, "Yeah, love it. Fuck you too, mate. Hey, yeah." And
I lean towards Farewell and I just say, "And me."
You do know that it's kind of my job to make sure that doesn't happen.
And
me. Hold on. Rummage around. I'm not gonna. I don't really have anything in my kind of repertoire at the moment that's a kind of...
I immediately turn away and I look at, I'm gonna say Eclipse, and I say, "Kill me now, and me. Grant me death. Release me from this torment, please, I beg you."
as you do this, a couple walk past, and somebody turns around and points at Eclipse and say, "See, I told you we can use teeth." And they just carry on going. Carry on.
I feel sick. I want to throw up.
I don't. What do you say about us hitting the bar?
Oh yeah, it should be one in the ballroom.
Better than nothing, I guess.
Well, lead on, Glory. Glory.
Okay.
To
Oh
glory.
yes.
Let's do
Hashtag
this.
glory.
As you pass through the oh, there we go. As you pass through the foyer, there are two women. Just checking. Yep, there's an elven woman in a bright kind of ball dress, flowing. It shimmers slightly, but you think that maybe she doesn't. There's no magic in her dress, and she is trying to convince
Ouch.
a woman who is a human woman who is in a dress that seems slightly oddly fitting. It's supposed to be figure hugging down to the knees and then has like a bustle that comes out at the end, but you can tell it's an older dress. And it has this kind of aged effect, but it's kind of old on top of that, so it's kind of looking a bit lackluster. And I'm not going to give you guys perception checks. You do notice that she's got ink-stained fingers, and the elf turns around and says, "Oh, come on, Marissa, please. Please, it'll be fun. I haven't been out in such a long time. I'm normally the one performing at these things." And she goes, "Those are horrible people, Celine. Come on, we can find a restaurant. It'll be much better. Come on, we get enough flack from our guilds. Let's have some fun." And Celine, quite clearly, the elf is going, "This is fun. I promise it will be. There'll be a bit of mischief, and there'll be a lot of people who'll be assholes. I know this, but it'll still be fun." And you just notice that clearly one of them is up for this and one of them isn't. But you're just passing that conversation. You go a little bit further, and gliding up to you in a way that is very reminiscent of a serpent is a woman that Glory knows well. This is Rachel. Okay, Rachel Anders. She is in her early 40s, and she's got kind of hazelnut-colored hair that's going grey. She is a human. She's very well toned, muscular to the point where she looks like she lifts. We're not talking about somebody who stays slim. We're talking about somebody who seems to have done quite a lot of work. She's wearing a very simple one-piece red dress, straps at the top, leaving her shoulders, arms, and neck bare. And it flows straight down to the ground to the point where you can only just see the shoes peeking out when she walks with each step. Rachel Anders is the leader of one of the guilds in the city, but not one of the guilds that is spoken of very much in the documentation of the city. She's the leader of the Companions Guild. Okay? Call them what you will. Consorts, companions, courtesans. They usually start with C. That's if you want to take on their services, of course. There are words that don't begin with C that if you call them that, well, good luck. Rachel is their fiercely intelligent, politically savvy, socially excellent leader. They're voted in through a complex process, and she attends most of the parties. She walks up and says, "Glory, darling, please." Goes up, kisses Glory on both cheeks, and says, "Somebody who has a little honesty about her here. You can't move for the duplicity here. How are you?"
Oh, I am great. Oh, let me introduce you to my friends.
Of
Guys,
course.
this is Rachel. This is Eclipse, Cora, Aiden, and Farewell.
Hi.
Fantastic. And may I say, you've represented Mildred beautifully here, and some very interesting concepts. And well, I have to say,
My suit grouse.
does it now? Oh, so
I move around a bit.
eventually you do manage to get one out that kind of goes. And Rachel goes, "Oh, how fun! I do like these things that show a certain amount of whimsy. Unfortunately, in my trade, we aren't allowed to express ourselves in that particular way. Everybody likes the old classics." And she kind of points to her red dress, and she goes, "And even more classic." She snaps her fingers, and it turns from red to black, and then she snaps it, and it goes back to red again. And she goes, "Really, what can one do?" But no, I love this material. And she points to Cora and says, "I love this material. It's just, yeah, it's to die for. I'll have to go and see Mildred and make something for when I'm off duty. Unfortunately, at these events, I'm always on duty. I've got several of my people here at the moment. You'll see my boys and girls wandering around. The usual thing, the ribbon on the right wrist. And yeah.
Yes.
But we've got some singers, some poets. We've got those who are very politically savvy. We've got some who have been briefed on the trading of the day, if that's your thing. We've got some who are very good companions for gambling. If you're going to enter the tables, I recommend that you take one of my lot, because I can be guaranteed they'll have one of their lot. Other than that, if there's any... if you find yourself in trouble, if you've insulted anybody, if you need any tempers calmed or ego stroked, you come my way and we'll sort things out.
Of course, you know me.
What was
Always
the
up for a
lady's name,
little fun.
Simon?
It's because I know you that I make this offer, darling. Yes, Corinne.
What was the lady's name, Simon?
Rachel Anders.
Yeah.
Rachel, do you have anyone here that's good with or knows a lot about like arcane objects?
Oh, arcane. Let me think. That'll be Tasha. Tasha will probably sort that out. They are fantastic at minor illusions and prestidigitation. An absolute master, really, an absolute master. And has been able to use it during dancing as well. Little things that appear in the air, coloured ribbons, or at least ribbons of light. A fantastic artist, yeah. If you want, she can...
I mean, more like boxes.
Boxes?
Yeah, like arcane boxes and the items, you know, things like that.
Oh, she will be able to hold a conversation with you all night on any manner of magical items, spells, legends of lost arcane lore. She spends all of her time absorbing as much as she can. I assure you won't be disappointed.
Do you have anyone who's really interested in really old legends that are local?
Ah, yes, indeed. That would be Jacob. He's a little bit of a history nerd, but also a contortionist. If that, I don't know how those two will match up, but yes, he's a man of many talents.
So, I'm sorry, I don't entirely sure how it works. Do I need to pay to talk to them, or how?
Suddenly, there's a look of horror on Rachel's face, which I'm sure is echoed in glory. Which when she goes, "I understand that you're new here." No.
Or would Eclipse know this? Because I don't know.
You've never been to a party. Yeah, you've never been to a party like this in your life. part of the challenge here is the awkwardness. And she goes, no, money doesn't change hands here. These are professional entertainers. Speak to them, and the evening goes how it will. But
Okay.
you've expressed interests. I'm pointing you to people who have those interests. That's all.
Okay. Now, just so I'm doing the right etiquette because I haven't been to this kind of party before.
Of course. Okay.
I'm just gonna look. I'm just gonna start looking for the bar.
Cora,
Yeah.
can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Don't go looking.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Not planning
I'm
to.
cool. I'm cool. I'm cool.
I know, but
Cool.
this is a very dangerous place. And I don't know if we'll get out of this one if it goes wrong.
I'm not planning to make any trouble. At all. I've been there.
You say that, and the last time you said that, I put 6 stitches into your forehead.
Yeah. You currently aren't wearing anything but plants, so maybe.
Why does everyone keep saying that?
Well, I'm just thinking you don't have anything to put stitches in, so probably best not to make too much. I don't plan to make any trouble. I'm here for Glory. If she's here, then she's here. Why would she not be? Should have realized. And yeah, I have a lava suit, so we're fine.
I'll be honest though, I do want to kind of go dancing.
You what?
I really like dancing. Did I tell you that?
Oh God, are we gonna dance?
No, I mean you're a bit
Short.
I can stand on your feet.
That would be adorable.
I don't know if that's how it works.
Like a dad dancing with the 5-year-old.
Yes!
Shall we just get a drink?
I
and
do
see
that
how
with
it
the
goes?
kids at work.
Okay.
Oh my god, yes.
We can get a drink. Why are the others looking at me?
Because you're hilarious in so many wonderful ways. And I
By the way-
I sort of pull myself up and try and give him
Yeah, there's a certain amount of sympathetic bending over that Farewell does when he talks to you anyway, and you just monopolize on that and grab hold of a pair of roots that seem to be kind of going down the side.
Oh, I really hope they're roots.
You know.
I wasn't gonna go there, but
Do you know what the
By the way-
thing is? All I
There's
can
a
think
second-
of is going through his head is, I'm stood in a room full of people stark naked. This is every nightmare that everybody's ever had, ever. Is that he is actually naked in front of all of these people. You put my poor boy naked in a room full of strangers with nothing but a bit of tactical moss between him and Jane.
You decided to wear
By
it.
the way, Simon.
Yeah.
I already went to find the bar.
Yep.
Of course
Okay.
you did.
Yeah. When you said that, I'm hoping it's a route. Suddenly, there's a Sepultura song that is just going through my head, and it's taking on a whole new meaning.
Ah,
So, so yeah, You're let into
Drinks.
the place proper, and when you a pair of double doors are open for you, and a wall of sound hits you. You see that there's a central dance floor. There's tables around the side where people can sit and watch the action, and there is a bar, and also there are people. There are servants going back and forth taking orders at the tables. And the usual kind of thing of panicked waiters with trays full of flutes of the equivalent of champagne, trying not to be knocked over by people who are drunk and gesturing wildly. Rachel was a little concerned at the start of the conversation between you and Farewell, but as the conversation went on, she ended up getting this really kind of warm, kind of aww look to her face as she started reading you in your conversation, and she kind of sees the friendship between you two, and at the end she's got this big warm smile, and she strides off to carry on schmoozing, as is her role here. She does kind of, as she leaves, turn back to Glory, and she says, "We'll catch up later."
Of course.
She's a very nice person.
And she strides off.
She is absolutely lovely.
Glory, just as a footnote, you know where Rachel has breakfast after soirees like this. So if you don't catch up with her at the soiree, you know where she'll be tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Okay. It's
Perfect.
It's a cafe here in the Merchants Quarter. It's not a kind of high class, high tea, tea and scones kind of place. Neither is it a Greasy Spoon. It's kind of a mixture of the two, where she'll be sat down to her usual Eggs Benedict, going over the shenanigans of the night before, and usually writing letters, either asking for people to apologize or to recommend certain companions for certain people who met that day. Or she will be sorting out the payment for the event. So, most of the payment, of course, being done by the organizers. So you stride in, and as I say, this wall of sound, and there's people dancing across the dance floor in these beautiful concentric patterns. Everybody moving as one, just one giant creature made from what seems like hundreds of people, but it's probably no more than 50. And we're going to leave it there with you in the middle of a ballroom with Gloria's little side mission. And what I will ask you is, for next week, have your level 4 characters prepared, because we will
so loud.
Spells.
Oh, okay.
We'll
I
start.
haven't even looked what level 4 warlock. Don't they just?
You get a feat for the most
Level
part,
4.
or a
No, you get your stat increase.
Yeah, usually it's stat increase.
stat increase or a feat. And so you'll start off as level 3, but at the appropriate time, I may ask you to switch to your level 4 characters, depending on how well or badly you do. Okay?
Can we go down to level 2 if we're that bad?
Oh, no. It's whether something will happen or not that you may level slightly faster or later, depending. So, sorry about your ears, Rowan. So, I will send you notes on what we want. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We have quite a few people here. I'm just going to have a quick look. So we've got Cactus, Cogwhistle, Aiden, if I'm saying it correct, and Rowan, as always. I think Rowan, our longest running viewer. And some people who I think are humans. We've got Toten, We've got Mega Blaziken. And
That's awesome.
Mega Blaze.
yeah, liking that. And some others who I don't know if V&K and Virgo Pros are bots or not. If they're not bots, then we have regular viewers. Wow.
I think the bots, but I'm not entirely sure. They don't say much anyway. They haven't spoken to us.
Oh, and
Toten is a real person. He's one of the guys.
hello, Toten.
Ah, yay! You're not a bot.
He's coming to support and watch us along with the rest of the clan. So he's one of
Here
us.
to watch us torture the green boy.
Yeah, they have all taken great joy in the fact that you've all taken great joy in.
And Mega Blaziken assures us that he is a bot. So, so thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We do have combat in this campaign, but normally we get a lot of pleasure from watching them torture each other, which makes things easy. So yeah, this is an encounter you're going into, but it's a social encounter. Okay. And depending on what
They're the most
happens,
deadly.
oh yes, oh yes.
Oh god. Yeah.
And we'll see how you go and who you insult and what enemies you might make or what allies can go that way. Let's face
By
it.
the way, you all did this.
We are
I
gonna
don't
see
know how next
many.
week's going to go,
Yeah.
but it's all your fault.
We are gonna see how many girls Glory can flirt with in a small amount of time.
Yep.
Oh, God. And they say farewell as a one-track mind.
Yeah. I must admit there was a certain amount of dread going, oh God, we're going deep into the Heart of Glory territory here. So yeah, I've already done a few scenarios of what happens if Glory ends up hideously flirting with certain characters. So there's this whole kind of I guess it's like a flowchart of how much can Glory completely change this story. So yeah, we'll see.
Well done, you, by the way. This has been a load of fun. These are really good couple of sessions. So to you, Felicia, and to you, Simon, great. Loving it.
And I'm loving how you characters are coming together. So a few announcements at the end. I kind of wanted to get into it after I was farting about with a few bits with OBS, which I have a love-hate relationship, mostly love. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, so I'm talking to you in the future, apologies that our file for session 10 got corrupted. I wasn't able to put it on there. What I'm going to do probably this weekend is I'm going to record a session 10 roundup to put in its place to tell you what went on. And give a bit of insight, so I'll talk about some of the factions and things there as well. Also, I'll be recording a second video to put before session 1. So for our longer serving viewers, Rowan in particular, will tell you that when we started off, it was my first ever stream. Session 1 was also my first ever stream, because that's apparently a good idea. And it started off where I didn't know, with the very lovely and hardworking laptop that I have, but is still very, very old, whether we'd be able to do things like have video and things like that. So at first, this was just sound and Roll20. Yeah, so it was kind of like a podcast with Roll20 on it. And then lots of different bits came in, so we've had all this lovely art from lots of different sources, from Rowan and from Felicia. Yeah, I was in the middle of calling Felicia Leanne, who is Rowan, or calling Felicia Glory. So so between Felicia, Rowan, Rattle, who isn't here today, but he does view quite a lot these days, and also the graphics that you can see all around us, which was done by Kate. Thank you very much for that. this is all starting
Also,
to pull
don't forget
together.
don't forget Feline Trickster, who did.
Oh yes, Feline Trickster, who has done Renata Green as well. I promoted quite a lot, but thank you for reminding me of that. So where is Renata? She is here. If I bring it to the top, pop. There we go. She's just underneath me.
I draw Glory a lot.
And yes,
Trust me.
there's a lot of very lovely Glory stuff. So the Glory that you saw today, which is this one here. This is Felicia's art, and how Felicia isn't making an absolute killing on commissions, I have no idea. But
Yes.
thank you everybody for joining us, and it's gone from being me kind of trying to run Roll20, OBS, Twitch and D&D all at the same time, to actually being some semblance of order and really enjoying bringing you guys to our table. So thanks very much for that. But I'll be doing a video right at the beginning, so anybody who starts watching us on YouTube will get a little bit of an explanation before they start off, which explains the setting, explains the characters, and then also explains that the first few episodes are going to be a bit crap on the visuals, not to mention all of the number of times that I end up either crashing things out or we have to rearrange cameras and things. But it's all good. It's all part of the Twitch magic. So I am just going to do a very quick check to see if I can raid two guys who I'm going to give a shout out to anyway, even if they're not on at the moment. They should be on, and that is Matt and Joe of Bearded Guys Gaming. So my first introduction to Twitch was at a time when I was going through some really hard times, and those guys managed to get me to laugh despite the fact that I was let's see. Oh, yep, they are live. So yeah, I know. So
Fine.
they
I need to go to bed. I have
Yes.
work tomorrow.
Okay.
I work as well. I'm like
Wait,
that. I'm
okay, we're
like-
doing the raid now. So we're going to raid them. Just go and say we okay. I think I'm going to send some love their way, and then that'll be it. So good night, everyone,
Nice.
and we will see you next week. So raid. Okay.
Simon, you're lagging a bit. Yeah, I think you're behind on audio.
Okay, but I've got everybody loading up to Bearded Guys Gaming. So I think 7 viewers. I think that's everybody bar the. And so we raid.
You cut out that sound.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But you managed to raid
No
them.
better way to end the stream than with technical difficulties. It's
Yes.
great.
Has the raid gone on your side?
I don't know how, but my hairstyle went from meh to somewhat acceptable in these headphones during the stream. That's nice. Oh well, that was fun.
That was fun.
I'm gonna
We're
I am
offline.
sorry, guys, that we are going